From the Opubco studios in Oklahoma City, you're watching the Press Row. Press Row is sponsored by Cox High-Speed Internet. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Tremble, and it's time for our weekly inbox segment where we take your emails and answer your questions. You can email us. Maybe you could be on the inbox next week. Let's start with this one, Barry. This one's from Reed. Reed asks, Mizzou wants out next July, and West Virginia can't get out of the Big East 27-month clause. Is there a plan in place where Missouri stays until West Virginia can join? Will a huge check be given to the Big East to release West Virginia? What the heck's going on here?
I think all of the above is on the table. I mean, that's what they're haggling over. I think the Big 12 is looking at the way the Big East is playing hardball, and I think the Big 12 is saying, why don't we play hardball with Missouri? Because if Missouri goes and West Virginia is delayed coming in, it creates amazing scheduling problems.
Yeah, it definitely does. I would suspect there's a check to be written here. In talking to some officials, it's been several months ago, I can't even remember. I think it was when TCU joined. You know, I asked the question, are there buyout issues with TCU and the Big East? And it was basically, hey, the A&M check's going to come in for their buyout. I think the Big 12 has the money, but obviously if there's legal wrangling, that might mess some stuff up. Let's go back to the inbox. This question comes from Steve. Steve says, it's pretty incredible that anyone would keep someone like that around, speaking of Joe Paterno, around the program after what happened in 2002. That made me sick. Paterno must have gotten a bit senile. Obviously, Barry, we know Joe Paterno is gone now. But what in the world, was there a chance Joe Paterno lost it somewhat?
I think it's possible that Joe Paterno is not all with us. I mean, I think it's possible that he really doesn't understand everything that happened with Jerry Sandusky. First of all, he's from a different age. He's from the 1940s. He's from the 1950s, when you really didn't talk about things like child sex abuse. So I can imagine a scenario by which Joe Paterno really didn't understand what he was being told. He thought, you know, Jerry Sandusky will do the right thing. We can trust him and just push it to the side. And then, you know, I think it's possible that he's not, that he has slipped mentally. It's possible he's no longer with us.
Well, I think there is a chance that his mental capacity has changed. But I tell you what, you talk about 2002. We were talking about this in our office just earlier today. 2002 is about the time that the sex scandals start to break in the Catholic Church, Barry. Joe Paterno, Catholic. He may have slipped, but he knew at that point how bad that was. That had to have registered with him. Come on.
Here's something to remember about Joe Paterno. Tuesday, when we saw him wanting to go to his press conference and they canceling it, then wanting to go to practice and going to practice. Look where he left from. He wasn't in the Penn State football office. He was at home. Yeah. Has this guy just been staying at home until it's time to go to practice? Is that the extent of his head coaching responsibilities? I'm not convinced Joe Paterno's been running Penn State football for that many years.
All right, back to the inbox. This one from Jeff. Jeff asks, should the BCS championship game include the consensus 2 best teams, or should it include the 2 teams that the voters would most like to see? There's a huge difference.
Fabulous question, and I'm going to add to it. I am going to say the Big Bowl should be inhabited by the 2 teams that most deserve it. And I think that's a different way of saying it. That's my way of saying no more Alabama-LSU rematches.
No rematches.
Alabama had its shot, especially playing at home. So, I mean, I don't know if Alabama's the 2nd best team in America, but I know they're not the 1st best.
Right.
I'm ready to see if somebody else is the 1st best.
Well, and I know there's going to be clamoring, especially depending on what happens these last 3 weeks, to maybe have that Alabama-LSU rematch. Barry, I do not want to see these guys miss a bunch of field goals again. To me, that's not a very exciting football game. So, top 2 teams in the rankings, best teams, teams you most want to see. I want to see a game that's fun and interesting. I'm not sure another 9-6 field goal kicking competition is much fun. All right, back to the inbox one more time, and this question comes from Harold. Harold says, I have an eerie feeling that as good as Justin Blackman is, he's going to be the one to make a costly blunder that really hurts the OSU team down the road. What do you think?
I think the chances are virtually nil that happens for this reason. He's tried to give away 2 games. I don't see any way that he gets a chance at 3rd. You know, he fumbles the ball unencumbered at Texas A&M, almost cost OSU. Yeah. He loses the ball at the 1-yard line, cost OSU a touchdown there in the 4th quarter against Kansas State. No way will that happen again. First of all, I don't think the odds are long that he's in that situation. Yeah. Second of all, I think it may have finally got through him. Protect the ball.
Yeah, I don't. The likelihood of that sort of thing happening again seems really, really small to me. Justin Blackman, with the exception of those 2 plays, you can hardly think of a time. Yes, he muffed that punt, and I know a lot of people have questioned why is Justin Blackman returning punts. Well, Josh Cooper was having some issues and then got hurt, so he's your best option there. I think he just needs a fair catch everything, though. That's the moral of the story with Justin Blackmon returning punts. Hey, be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.